Hey squad, Tito Bods here, and in this video, I'm going to give you the top 5 ring combinations or setups for your Miyamoto marches. So a lot of players have been asking for a ring setup for your Miyamoto. There is always a ton of players asking in the comments regarding rings for your Miyamotos. So let's start with your number 5. So number 5, we have this ring setup. We have your tulip, your tranquil water, and your ring of tear. Now this setup is for your free-to-play players. So even though it has a legendary ring, I would say this is best for free-to-play because you can achieve that feat in getting at least one legendary. Especially this is just 1,600 jewelers mark. You can get that ring, and the ring of tulip really helps with your Miyamoto, especially if you're a free-to-play player. So this ring setup can be used in season 1 to whatever season it is, whatever lineup it is you have with your Miyamoto. This ring is pretty much a universal ring for a Miyamoto march, whatever your other heroes are, as long as your ring of tulip is with your Miyamoto and the other 2 rings are with your other 2 heroes. You can use this ring repeatedly for the next few seasons if you really want to max out the ring of tranquil to give it a boost to at least level 30, and leveling this is pretty good. You know why? Because you have 3 different materials to level up 3 different rings. So there is no way there's going to be any conflict when you level up this ring. The only change you want to do if the season is like season 7 or season 5, when you are deeper and deeper into the year or into your account, is in the future you want to change your ring of tulip to maybe an effulgent sun, and you will still have a ton of advantage, because maybe in those times your ring of tranquil already is at level 20 or level 30, so you can afford another ring, which is, as I said, it's either lofty mountain or ring of effulgent sun to change, or in exchange for your tulip, and your march will still be one of the marches that can actually have a very good damage in the field, even if you're a free-to-play player and you're rocking these rings, whatever your march is, as long as you have a Miyamoto and your ring of effulgent sun or lofty mountain is situated with your Miyamoto. Now for your top 4, this is the ring that I call the budget meal, because you have 2 rings here that are pretty much easy to get and easy to level up. Plus, you will have a huge advantage because you will get some strategy in here. This is what I call, the rings that actually can help you win against a Ramses lineup or a Sun Tzu lineup because of the ring of lion. Plus, extra might from your ring of bear in here. So we have the ring of lion, the ring of tranquil, and the ring of bear. Yes, your ring of bear has a negative armor, so it's pretty vulnerable against might heroes, but do not fear because you have the ring of tranquil. That's why I specifically made this setup to be like this, so that your ring of lion will negate just a little bit of the armor reduction of your ring of bear, because ring of lion does have that extra armor for your Miyamoto. Plus your ring of tranquil will give you overall the general damage reduction plus defense for your troops. That's why this ring combination is very vital, as it's made because of the stats difference that this can actually provide. So you can use this ring also from season 1, because this ring, as I've said, is pretty good. So you can also use this ring from season 1 to whatever heroes in general you have, as long as you have a Miyamoto build, I think. Or maybe if you have a Yodit, you can actually use this one. So this is pretty much what I call, as I've said, the budget meal, because it's easy to actually level up. The only conflict you have here is you have 2 purple rings, wherein your materials to level up your purple ring is going to be split into 2, but no worries, because as I've said, this is still a budget ring. No need to rush it. You can level it up to 10 at the same time, 20 at the same time, and 30 at the same time, so slowly leveling it up. What's best about this ring is you don't need to change anything or get anything from this one. If you're a free-to-play, a low spender, you can also use this one. So low spender, mid spender can actually invest in this. Once you hit that level 40 on your ring of bear and ring of lion, you will feel the strongest that you can be with a Miyamoto march. Believe me, that damage or that might from your ring of bear is 100, plus you have the extra 66 or something like that from your ring of lion, with the extra strategy 66 armor from your ring of lion. You will have an advantage when it comes to stats versus other heroes, especially, you will also have that advantage, or that, balancing stat difference from or versus a Ramesses or a Zunchu. That's why this setup right here is a budget meal, but really has a huge oomph versus other strategy heroes like your Ramesses or Sunchu, as I've said. And also with the natural damage reduction from criticals from your Lagertha once you get her, plus your CPO in here, in the future, even against cavalry units like your Lubu, you can still have a chance to win as long as you invest on the right things and on these rings. This is not for everybody, but if you want to set up this ring, I will tell you it will really be a good investment overall. So as I've said, you can use this season 1 to season 7, no problem. The investment will always be there, and it will not cost so much that it will eventually still give you the best out of your troops even without spending much in the game. Now for your top 3, this is a spender's version of your budget meal, wherein you have now the Effulgent Sun, wherein the damage of the Effulgent Sun will be there, plus extra damage from your Lofty Mountain. Now fear not, because this is almost the same as the budget meal, but this is quite more expensive than that, and this will reach a higher potential because of the regular scaling of the rings. Although as I've said, this is going to be an expensive upgrade than your budget meal, but this will also have that effect of that effect and results from your budget meal, but in a way this will scale a little bit higher because of the regular scaling of legendary rings. The only downside of this one is that your Lofty Mountain is a natural is one of the natural best rings against might heroes, but against strategy heroes it doesn't have that much oomph. But with the help of the Tranquil Water, we can counter some of the incoming damage from those heroes, but not necessarily countering the Ramesses March. But there is a chance that this will win against a Ramesses March in a way wherein the buffs and damage from your Effulgent Sun plus CPO Africanus will actually hit and land. Now this is another general ring that you can use from season 1, season 2 up to season 7. This will be a very good investment also, but as I've said, this will be more reasonable or achievable for spenders because of the nature of the rarity of the rings. So if you are a little bit more on the spender side and you can afford these rings, now this ring setup is for you. Now the top 2 ring is this setup. So you have the Effulgent Sun, the Lofty Mountain, and the Skyward Knight. Now you can use this ring also from season 1, but the downside here is that this is a pretty much more expensive than the previous one. So the top 3 rings earlier is expensive in a way that you have to use fine gold for it. Now this one is much more expensive because of the Skyward Knight, which is 4,000 Jeweler's Mark, so more expensive than your Lofty Mountain and your Tranquil Water earlier, and of course your Effulgent Sun, because the 3 rings on the top 3 is actually just 1,600 Jeweler's Mark, which is more than half or less than half of the Skyward Knight. Now here though, you must know where to place your Skyward Knight. It doesn't matter if this is from season 1, season 2, season 3 up to season 7, you can use this one. The only thing that you always have to consider is where to place that Skyward Knight. Always place it on the hero that will deal less damage. For example, in this March, CPO will deal less damage because your Lagertha does heavy lifting also on the back side of things. So next to Miyamoto, Lagertha is your secondary damage dealer, so you want your Skyward Knight on your healer or support or whoever has the less damage. So in the Skyward Knight though, it's somewhat of a little bit better than your top 3 rings because this one does have extra activations. This is pure damage here. The only defense here is the Effulgent Sun. Sorry, the only defense here is the Lofty Mountain against might heroes. You don't have defense against strategy heroes extra on the bonuses, but you have defense or damage reduction also on the stat of the rings, but you don't have that extra bonus like your Tranquil Water can do, but you have that in your or for your against your might hero opponents. And the best thing about this one though, as I've said, is mostly on damage. So this is a pure let's say semi-pure damage setup, so you will surely get a huge damage output from this build. And as I've said, if you're going to use this build, it's pretty much again for a spender side of things, because if you have 3 legendary rings and you cannot level them up properly because you are a low spender and you get 3 legendary rings and you cannot level them up properly, you're going to waste your investment. So if you're a low spender, mid spender, and you cannot afford 3 legendary rings, I think the budget meal is what you want. But here though, in this ring, if you're a spender, this is one of the best rings to actually invest in, especially from season 1. So this is, for me, my top 2 ring setup. Or the top 1 ring of our top 5 setup here is your Ring of Effulgent Sun, Ring of Divine Warrior, and Ring of Lofty Mountain. So that is for me the number 1 slot, or the top spot for your ring for your spenders. So why not Skyward Knight? Number 1, if I use a Skyward Knight in any of these heroes, you will lose 15% damage. Now, the Divine Warrior, in a way, cannot be used on your Lagertha because your extra damage from your Divine Warrior will be placed on Scipio and Miyamoto. Because the nature of the Divine Warrior is that whoever is not wearing that ring, those 2 other heroes are going to get the extra damage for your troops. And also, of course, the extra activations for your, extra or customizable skills, which we are not actually having any for Lagertha or Miyamoto, but the upside there is the actual damage output that you can get from your Divine Warrior for your Miyamoto, both your Miyamoto and Lagertha, and that is actually a huge deal because 2 of your heroes who are doing damage will have that damage. Unlike your Skyward Knight, you will only boost your Miyamoto, but with your Divine Warrior, you will boost your Miyamoto, plus you will boost your Lagertha. So you have your Divine Warrior should be on your Scipio, and you don't want your Skyward Knight to be on your Lagertha because she will have less damage. So why not just use the Lofty Mountain, wherein you will have still your extra, or you will still have your damage intact on your Lagertha, plus it will still boost the damage of your Miyamoto, plus you have a damage reduction from Might Heroes, which is what we want. So that is the top 1 build for your Miyamoto setup. You have the Effulgent Sun, the Divine Warrior, and your Lofty Mountain for pure damage. And that is actually for spenders because Divine Warrior also is a pretty expensive ring at 4,000 Jeweler's Mark, and the investment of these 3 rings is pretty much expensive. So for me, spenders are maybe, whales or krakens, or, mid spenders that can afford maybe can actually get that ring. But do not worry, we still have like 2 more bonuses for you. Since Tito Bods love you so much, guys, I have 2 more set up that you can check out. So one of the bonuses is actually the Effulgent Sun, the Divine Warrior, and Celestial Spark. So you have the Celestial Spark on your Lagertha. Make sure your Lagertha and your Miyamoto has the highest might of all the 3 heroes, and of course your Divine Warrior still is with your Scipio Africanus. Now this is more expensive than the last one because your Celestial Spark has a higher damage than your, or higher Jeweler's Mark than your Lofty Mountain. Now the question is, can you use the Celestial Spark with Lagertha and then use Skyward Knight on Scipio plus Effulgent Sun on Miyamoto? Now that is also another build that you can use. So we have 2 extra bonuses with just that one. So that still is going to be for your, spenders, because as I've said, it's pretty much, expensive to actually have that. But as I've said, you can do the Effulgent Sun on Miyamoto, you can use the Divine Warrior on Scipio, you can use the Celestial Spark on Lagertha, or if you want the Skyward Knight, you can use Effulgent Sun on Miyamoto, you can use the Celestial Spark on your Scipio, you can use the Celestial Spark on your Lagertha, you can use the Skyward Knight on your Scipio, and it's all going to work fine. Now there is another ring setup that I am still checking on, but worth it to be explored. Now this is a mid-tier level setup because you have 2 rings here that are legendary, but the only expensive one here is the Skyward Knight, so I think mid spenders can actually afford this one. The thing here is that you have a crow ring. Why do we have a crow ring in here? Now this is pretty much experimental on my side, but I am actually having a blast with this setup. I've used Miyamoto in a few matches with this build, and it actually gave me a huge boost, especially against heroes like your Ramesses and Sun Tzu. I mean, like strategy heroes, especially the Sunpike strategy of Belisarius. This actually helps me a lot, even against against might heroes, because what your crow provides is stealing your strategy, your might, your armor from your other heroes, plus it has strategy bonus. Now we're going to talk about strategy bonus, on how much that strategy bonus will provide for you or will give you. And given that this is also another active skill, you will have a better chance to actually activating this, because your Miyamoto has the skill of High Spirit. So High Spirit increases the activation chance of the hero's active skills. It doesn't say just your signature active skill. It says active skills, and your ring is included in the active skill because that is an active skill right there from your twist of fate. That is an active skill, so it will have that much. Now imagine if you have max out 55 on your might, strategy, and armor. Now against strategy heroes, you will have extra 55 strategy, which is a damage reduction if you are up against a strategy hero, and having extra 55 might with that damage will actually give you a ton of damage also, because you're going to also reduce their strategy, which is you're going to be tanky, plus reduce their armor, so you're going to have more damage in that sense. Now, plus the best thing about this is strategy bonus, and it's in good hands with your Miyamoto because you have extra activation chance, so you will, like, let's say 50%, but it's not really 50, it's like 48% in total, but still it's a huge increase, and that is almost like every other turn, which is still good because you have that 3 seconds. So yes, this is still a bit experimental on my side, but it's easier to actually get, and I'm loving this one. So as you can see, I'm leveling it up now to 16, and slowly but surely will eventually get there in the future. But I will tell you guys my experience on this one. If you don't want to check, or if you don't want to copy this one, I would understand, but I'm not really recommending it right now. I'm just giving you some theory craft that I have. This one will actually be, for me, to be honest with you guys, still experimental, but really gives me a lot of potential. So yeah, those are my top 5 Miyamoto ring setup, plus of course the extra bonuses. And if you learned something from this video, please don't forget to like and share this one. It really helps the channel a lot. And if you are new to the channel, you like this kind of content, or you play Age of Empires Mobile and you learned something from this one, please don't forget to give us love by subscribing and ring that bell so you will always be notified soon if we have a new video like this one just for you guys. And if you want to check out more of our content, click on the video on your screen right now and check it out. And as always, squad, have a great day to everyone. This is your Tito Buds, and I will see you in the next one.